Ready, set, spring into your Geauga Park district with 25 accessible parks close to home. Download maps of all the awesome trails you can discover and experience breathtaking nature in no time. Begin your adventure at geaugaparkdistrict.org.
A strange pneumonia-like disease was observed in Wuhan, China, and named SARS-2, coronavirus ID-19. COVID-19 was born. China halted air travel from Wuhan within China, but continued global flights from Wuhan, spreading the infection. For 6 critical weeks, China kept the outbreak secret, denying the world the opportunity to prepare for the epidemic. China hoarded most of the personal protective equipment in the world. During the ensuing pandemic, China cut supply of PPE to the rest of the world. China even threatened to halt shipments of critical drugs to America. This was only an accident until it happened. Communist China's actions after the accident amounted to an act of war. Many lives and tens of trillions of dollars have been lost, all directly due to Communist China's act of war. After we solve the COVID-19 problem, and we will solve it, there will be a day of reckoning, but only if the right person is in the White House. What would happen with anyone other than Trump in that job when we need a brave and inspiring leader to face the Chinese communists and extract retribution for their war crimes? Coronavirus 19, CV19 in my terminology, is a SARS virus. That means it is a severe acute respiratory syndrome virus. Its surface has spikes resembling a corona or crown, hence the name corona. CV19 primarily affects adults. Children 18 and under are about 1.7% of the cases, a very small number. CV19 is most severe in folks over 65 years old and those with underlying health conditions such as cardiopulmonary problems, diabetes, obesity. 97.7% of healthy young adults who have had COVID don't remember being sick or had a very mild case of it. About 2% of those will become very ill. 0.3% of the folks under 65 who are infected will die. All respiratory viruses and flus are spread by being too close for too long to an infectious person's talking, singing, laughing, sneezing, or coughing. Touching contaminated surfaces, then touching your face, your eyes, your nose, your mouth is a bad idea. You should wash and sanitize your hands frequently. I also wash my face a lot. Quarantines can improve the outcome of epidemics, but if it's too early, it flattens the curve, but it extends the epidemic, postponing herd immunity. That makes the virus rebound in a spike. Watch for this spike. And it may last 9 months instead of a general 4-month period. This means more ultimate cases and more death. Too late of a quarantine, and it wasn't necessary because it can't do anything more. But it does deprive people of their rights. Mistiming quarantines increase death and suffering, destroy the economy, and deprive people of their rights. Governor DeWine and Dr. Acton's quarantine was too soon. Another round of quarantine will destroy the economy and complete the tyrannical and unconstitutional destruction of our freedoms. And yes, our healthcare systems can handle the spike, because perhaps as many as 30% of our population right now has already had CV19. What's the optimal quarantine time? Well, the best time for quarantining is right at the very peak of infections. As we watch our infections rise, we hit the peak. That's when you do a quarantine. That's when it is most effective. And it provides for the most rapid development of herd immunity, which means the lowest number of deaths and the least disruption of life and the economy. Quarantining the healthy interferes with the herd immunity, with achieving herd immunity, by delaying the time that the healthy get the flu. That's basically what a quarantine does. It delays the time when the healthy get the flu. Their removal from the workforce destroys the economy and undermines the viability of healthcare systems. The elderly and fragile living in nursing homes should be protectively quarantined. Elderly living independently, by constitutional personal choice, should self-isolate till the epidemic is over. Children should not be quarantined, nor should healthy adults under 60. They should get exposed, they should spread the virus, and it will hasten herd immunity. Some younger, healthy people will get severe cases, and a few will die, many times traceable to an undiagnosed underlying condition. We are in a war. We didn't start. In war, casualties and fatalities occur. It is inevitable. It is terrible. It is regrettable, but we must win. Personal protective equipment. Surgical masks offer very little protection for the wearer, but they do provide a barrier against saliva spray from people when they're talking or laughing or singing. If you couple glasses or goggles with N95 masks, those are the next step up from the surgical masks, it does improve your protection. But if you really want protection, you need a full face mask. Anything else is not adequate protection. Gloves will help you, but you have to keep them away from your face and your eyes and so forth. Gloves and masks get contaminated, need frequent replacing or decontaminating. Wear it as your personal choice. I wear mine a lot because I have an immune-compromised wife. I hope you will, of your own constitutional free choice, be protective of the vulnerable people around us. And I emphasize of your own constitutional free choice. Carry PPE with you. Wear it if you find yourself among vulnerable people who make a risky choice by being out and mixing it up with the younger, healthy crowd. All by free choice, guided by common sense. Bottom line, there are viruses out there, plural, that can kill you. The older you are and the more health problems you have, the greater is your risk. By the time a vaccine is developed, this epidemic may likely be over. The interim strategy must be one to minimize loss of life and preserve our economy and healthcare system. First, we must protect the elderly and the fragile vulnerables. Quarantine nursing homes and prisons. Staff them with volunteers who will be in those facilities 24/7 for 45 to 60 days with added compensation. I'd call that battle pay, combat pay. Independent living, elderly people, and fragile vulnerables, if you're living at home, stay home by personal constitutional choice. Use personal protective equipment. Curtail visits with all people. Think ahead to avoid crowds. Shop and go out early in the morning. Exercise, eat well, live smart. Self-isolate for 45 to 60 days. Please do stay well. We need you. Open schools and universities immediately. Open Ohio, fully, now. Achieve herd immunity. Win with smart freedom.